most people aren't going bankrupt. Most people believe they are going bankrupt. See, the fact of the matter is, over the last 10 years, about 12.8 million people filed for bankruptcy. Doesn't sound like a lot. Well, to be honest, let's just think about the US for a second. There are 372 million people in the US. On average, well, actually, the exact filings last year, over the last couple of years, hovered around 400 to 500,000. Still a lot of people, not taking anything away, but it's not even 10%. It's not even 5% of the total US population. Now, granted, you want to take out kids and all that, but the fact of the matter is you can't, even if you subtract kids, you cannot crack that many people, 10%, 5%, to even make an argument that that's how bad people's financial situations is. Okay, now we're in this financial crunch. And what I'm seeing is you will hear paycheck to paycheck 70%. Average person can't put their hands on $1,000. Average person can afford a $400 emergency. Average car payment, $700, $1,000, depending on where you want to get your news from. You can hear all these different statistics. One of the biggest things that's pointing out, oh, you may not have enough money for retirement. Oh, now you can't purchase a home. Now there are so many negative things thrown at you. And let's be real, the situation of the money crunch, prices on groceries have gone up. Eggs, I think the other day I saw was 3.5, maybe $4. Bread, same thing. The prices at these grocery stores for what you're getting in the quantity not adding up. And as people say, the math just isn't mathing. But what I do want you to pay attention to is it the fact that somebody took on too much debt? Probably. What's allowable, and there are constraints. But even though there are constraints, the fact is you can actually do better in your situation. Oh, I got crippling student loan debt, 100K, almost 200. I know that. I have that amount, and I still have investments. I still upwards and close edging on that million net worth. So what is the big thing? You have to fervently save and invest your money. Save because you need cash because of times like this when you might have a job loss, you things might be getting out of control, expenses and all that. So you have some cash there to help buffer you through all this riffraff so that you can still invest your money. Second, you have to invest your money, and you have to invest your money. Maybe you're going for a million, but maybe you're just trying to be a little bit more comfortable. What that means is your money is now working with you, going with the current of the work you're doing every day. Truthfully, you have to work outside of your job. When I thought about saving money, the first thing I did was, oh, let me get rid of car payment. At that time, my car payment was $300. But now the averages are twice, three times that amount. But the fact is, think about if you didn't have a new car, or if you kept your same car, you just didn't have the payment, you would now theoretically have money to save. So then the question has to ask yourself, or you have to ask yourself, when that comes up, when you pay off that card, the next month, when something comes up that's going to tear into that $700, are you going to make the decision of saying, hey, I'm going to save this money, or am I going to pay for that new shiny thing? I would enter that most people are buying that new shiny thing. And now you're in a situation where work is tough. And if you do want to work, basically you don't want to work. It's not going to provide you the environment, the flexibility, and adaptability. I would argue that some is a little bit more flexible than others, but it's not going to be a type of work that makes you feel good and you're going to be energized to go. So that work is 2 times harder. The fact of the matter is you can actually do a little bit better. And before you go trying to be wealthy, let's try getting comfortable first. Let's not think about, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. Oh, I'm going to retire early. Those are lofty dreams. But let's be honest, nearly 8% of the population are millionaires. Again, majority is not. But a good portion of the population are financially comfortable, meaning they're not happy that they have to pay the high prices, but they're also not concerned about keeping a roof over their head at the same time. I say all this to say that you have to be very, very clear with yourself and be just honest. If you don't want that type of wealth, that doesn't have to be a desire. But flexibility and money does allow you a certain level of comfort. It's not going to buy you happiness, but it can buy you comfort. And that's what I'm telling you right now. Meaning comfort, meaning you're not worried about your next check coming in. And if your next check doesn't come in, you're fine. Comfort that if you get a car repair or you have some sort of emergency, $1,000, $2,000, even $10,000, you can take care of it. And what you know as your normal life can go on just as it normally does. These are things that I need you to understand. These are things that you can have happen. But you have to understand that you're not in a dire situation of bankruptcy. That's there because that is another bottom percent of people who just got so far into debt that seriously there's literally no way out even if you are working. But most people, you're really, when you really think about it, you're so stressed. You have so much pressure. You can't even make the clear decision and you can't see the clear decision. And that's partly lack of education. But the other thing is you don't quite have the skill to understand that, hey, I need to make this choice and I'm not going to like this choice, but this is the right choice. Every choice that takes you to wealth doesn't feel good. And everything that you want to do that's going to prosper you isn't going to be a walk in the park. That's why they say adulting is a way, or that's called being an adult, because everything about an adult's life isn't always about doing the thing that makes you feel good. And they say children like to do, honestly, what makes them happy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just a sign of maturity that you understand that, hey, everything's not always going to go my way. CEOs, everything don't go his way. There's CEOs that have to go into Supreme Court. Why? Because something happened under their watch. You think they wanted to do that? Oh, they got the money. Doesn't matter at that point. What about the stress? What about the legal pressure? What about the strain and amount of responsibility that now puts on your family? These are things that you have to be aware of, and these are things that can happen. But the fact is, all that to say, you're mismanaging. It's okay. People mismanage. But you need to start thinking about, okay, what's the next right decision I can make right now? I need to have some savings in the bank to give me some breathing room. Once I can get some breathing room, now I can think clearly of, am I at the right job? And if I need to go get some more work, let me go do that. If I need to get a raise at my job, let me think about the building blocks of how I can make that happen and start down that path. And if you do those behaviors constantly over and over again, 1, 2 years, you will see a level of comfort financially that will build you a support. And then you can decide, hey, in this season, this is what I want to do.